soccer statistics lab. So I wanted to show you how to do it because I actually saw it in more than one class when I went through and looked at all the soccer statistics, like everybody's soccer team and their other classes. So if you remember, the error was in line 61. Okay, so the first thing I did was in soccer team, because I wanted to make this quick on myself. In soccer team, remember line 61 dealt with the goalkeeper. So I wanted to narrow down my problem. So I got rid of num defenders, num midfielders, and num strikers, and I set them all to 0. When I set them all to 0, it will not, now it won't run any of the things that has, well, it will. It's not going to create any of them. It's not going to run any of their methods. We already know the methods work, and we already know their creation works, so we don't really want to bother with them as much. And once I figured out what the problem was with goalie, I figured out that there's nothing wrong with the other 3. So it's specifically to this one error. So once I do that and I run it, I'm going to stop this and rerun it. It's only going to fill the team with a goalie, which is what I want because I want to make this, I just want to narrow down my problem. So I'm going to put in whatever I want for the name of the team and how many games they've played and how many they've won. And so now it's going to run goalkeeper. So I'll call myself the goalkeeper. I played 1 game. Okay. 4, 3. Okay. Here is my error. So again, we narrowed it down. It's a null pointer exception. I assume that it's going to have to be a string. It's going to deal with the string. So I believed that it was in get name. So if I click on soccer team 61, I click on it again. It should say at some point, maybe I'll click on the client. No. At some point, it can say, well, what is the exception? The exception is that it's null. And I'm thinking that it has to do with the goalie. So I don't think it has anything to do with the save percentage here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out. And then I'm going to do this. So I'm going to narrow it down to just goalie.getName because that's what I think is going on. So then I can run it again and see what the issue is. And I'm going to put the same information in. Okay, now it's telling me this again. So the string's already been created. It's not the string. And then if I click it again, it tells me find why goalie could be null. So that gave me a clue there. I'm not really certain why it came up the second time around. When I clicked the soccer team.java 61, maybe it saw that I was trying to find this error repeatedly, but it did. And so I went up here to, okay, where is goalie created? Goalie is created here. Okay. So then I figured out, okay, after looking at this, we already narrowed down that the actual, in class, we looked at the actual constructor, and the constructor is fine. So I figured out what the issue is. This line has been redeclared. So goalie has been redeclared. What I mean is, it's declared up here as an instance variable, private goalkeeper goalie. And this is part of the declaration. When I redeclare it down here, what happens is goalie is now only seen inside this constructor. So it becomes a local variable once you redeclare it. That means it only exists inside this constructor. Once you're done with this constructor, the value points to null now. So that means when I tried to run, or the computer tried to run it down here, it doesn't exist here anymore. It exists only inside here because this is redeclared. So once I take this declaration out and I run it again, now remember it's still on a short run, but I run it again, you can see now it printed out and that error is gone. I could, if I want, take this comment out, which is probably a good idea, just to make sure that it's working as I intend it to work, and run it one more time. So I just kind of wanted to give you all just a little tutorial about like how to look for your own and correct your own errors and what's going on. Like that one was a very slight specific error, but because I was able to narrow it down, I figured out what the error was. And you all should be getting good at that too. So remember, I narrowed it down by setting all of these, the length of all of these arrays to 0 so that nothing else was created except for the goalkeeper. And then I commented out the extra part of this line. So I really narrowed it down to exactly what I thought it was. Anyway, so this should help you on your next lab.